Hi guys, welcome back to the Player YouTube channel, and today you join me in a Skoda, and it's not just any Skoda. If you haven't already guessed yet, this is the new Skoda Enyaq. This is Skoda's all-electric vehicle, also known as an EV. It's one of 4 SUVs in the Skoda stable, and that is the Kodiaq, the Kamiq and the Karoq, all names with a Q at the end. Now, if you want to watch any of those videos, wait for the click up banners as they come through over the next few minutes, and you can click on any of those and go and watch our reviews and also where those names come from, which I find quite interesting. And speaking of where names come from, let's talk about the Enyaq. Enyaq comes from the word Enya, the Irish word, meaning source of life. And I think where Skoda are going with that is that this is an eco-friendly vehicle and it sort of fits in with the source of life. It's as simple as that. As with most words, most brilliant words that Skoda use, they add a Q to the end of it. So, like I said, you've got Kamiq, you've got, Karoq, they've all got a Q on the end. I think it's quite a novel little idea, actually. It sort of bounces along with all the range as well. So the Enyaq was launched not that long ago, actually. It was launched in 2020, the latter part of 2020, and eventually hitting the showrooms around about May, June of 2021, and we're still in 2021, so it's a very recent car. The figures for the sales, etc., haven't even come out yet, none of the official figures, but I can tell you this. I know when a car goes on a reserve list, in other words, you've got a wait list, it's popular. And this car is already on a wait list. It's built out in the Czech Republic in the Skoda factory, like they always have been since 1895, so it's been around a while. I think one thing about the modern Skodas is, thanks to the introduction of Volkswagen in the year 2000 when they took over Skoda, the whole Skoda range has completely changed. And in my opinion, you can't go far wrong with a Skoda. First up, you've got to admit, this is a gorgeous looking car. I think it is probably one of the best large electric SUVs on the market, looks wise anyway. It's stunning. You also notice all the little bits, all the joins and the angles and everything. They're all so nicely done. I think that has definitely been the VW influence in this, even though this car is actually built in Czechia or Czech Republic, however you want to say it. The entry-level car comes with black roof rails and black window surrounds here. This car has it's like a styling pack that you pay extra for and you get chrome. And to be honest, I think I'd prefer it in black. I think it would look nicer. Each to their own. Another thing which I think is really nice on this particular car are these 21-inch wheels. These rims are just absolutely stunning. The standard, or the entry-level car, comes with standard 19-inch rims, but I think the 21s, they do look right. The 19s are going to look a bit small on here. Another thing you get are foldy-in mirrors, and they're also heated. I like that, and they're colour-coded as well, which is really good. Got a little bit of plastic trim here. It's not doing much, but it's just giving it a little bit of an ID, bit going on there. Another thing with the entry-level car, all Enyaqs get LED front and rear lights as standard, or you can opt to upgrade them to the matrix lights. They're the ones that, they sort of have a little bit of an angle on them that they don't blind people coming the other way. One thing I love about this car is this big splitter around the front here. It's very sporty. You wouldn't normally see that on an SUV. And another thing, on an electric car, you rarely get to see a grille. And I think where this is going, it's keeping the look of a standard car, but at the same time, when we get autonomous driving in a few years' time, they're going to be able to house all that autonomy behind that grille. Just mentioning about the colour, I love the colour on this car. It is an extra £595. However, if you want one in blue, that's what you can have as part of the package, because the basic non-metallic blue is the only colour choice. There are a number of colour choices in the metallics, these colours, and they're all £595 extra, apart from the red, which is £995 extra. Maybe Skoda's got something about red, who knows? With the Skoda Enyaq, you get 4 different trim level options. Your entry level car is the IV60. It's a 62 kilowatt battery, and it will give you a range of around 256 miles, which isn't bad. Cost-wise, we're looking at from 34,000 UK pounds. Again, I think that's a very reasonable figure for the quality of the car you're actually getting. If you want a little bit more range out of that, then you can jump up to the IV80, which is an 82 kilowatt battery. That will give you a range, this is the range topper, of 330 miles, and it will set you back around about 39,000 UK pounds from 39,000. Again, I still think we're in a very good price bracket here for this type of car. If you want to jump up a little bit more with a load more extras on the car, you can jump up to the IV80 Sportline. Still comes with the same battery, the 82 kilowatt. However, you will be getting 325 miles in range. That will cost you around 43,000 UK pounds, or from 43,000 UK pounds. Top of the range is the IVX Sportline, and the reason it's called the X Sportline, it's an all-wheel drive car. That will cost you from £47,000, and it will give you a range of 301 miles. And the reason for that is because it's an all-wheel drive car, it's churning or burning a lot more battery than the other cars because they're all two-wheel rear drive. There is a government subsidy, 2021, just so we get the date right, a government subsidy here in the UK of £2,500. You need to inquire about that when you're actually purchasing the car, and I'm sure you'll be given all the details on that. There is an additional subsidy here in the UK as well for a home charger, which obviously you're going to want if you're going to buy one of these electric cars. It's a 7 kilowatt home charger. You will be paying from around 900 UK pounds for the unit itself and the installation. You will need a 100 amp fuse board. A lot of the older fuse boards are only 60 amp, so double check that with your electricity supplier. It's not a lot of money to get that changed over, and in some cases it's actually free. You get a £350 government grant towards that, so you can take that off that £900, or if you can find it cheaper, then good luck to you. Home chargers will charge at around about 33 miles per hour into your battery, just on the range. So you've got a rough idea of how long it takes there. To charge an IV60 from 0 to 80% takes around 9 hours, and an IV80 from 0 to 80% around about 13 hours. Let's check out under the bonnet. The bonnet release catches down here in the passenger footwell. Don't forget, if it's a left-hand drive, they're not going to move it. It's going to be in the driver's footwell. Of course it is. The catch for the bonnet is here, right underneath that big logo. It's quite heavy as well, this. So pushing that up and then put your little stay in there. There we go, make sure it's safe. One thing I absolutely love about the Enyaq is you can see everything. You can see the motor. Now, we've tested quite a number of electric cars, and normally all this is covered up. You can't see anything, but you can actually see that motor down there and all the working bits and pieces that are going on underneath here. Okay, let's talk a couple of differences on those motors. First up, this is the IV80. And there is an IV60, which is the entry-level car. The IV60 is a 62 kilowatt engine or motor battery. It's 62 kilowatts, that's the way it works. And that equates to, in motor terms, in engine terms, about 180 brake horsepower. So that gives you an idea of the power. That car weighs in at around 2 tons. One thing about all these cars is there's not a difference in the weight, not a lot of difference in the weight, and not a lot of difference in the speed and the 0 to 60 times. If you jump up to the IV80, that equates to 204 brake horsepower. That weighs in at 2.2 tons. So there's a slight difference between the weight. 0 to 60 times, very similar all the way through, about 8 seconds, 0 to 60, all throughout the whole range. Top speed, exactly the same, 100 miles an hour. One other thing that's slightly different, if you go for the top of the range out of all the cars, the IV80X Sportline, that has all-wheel drive. All of these other cars, all of them have two-wheel rear drive. There you go. The Skoda Enyaq comes with a number of safety aids as standard, which I was really impressed with. First up, you've got cruise control, which is down here on a stalk just below the lighting stalk there and the indicator. Very, very easy to use as well. It almost becomes intuitive when you're driving, because you don't have to look down. You really don't want to be looking down when you're driving. So setting it is so simple. On and off button is over here on the right hand side of the steering wheel. Again, simple, just push the button on and it will come on. There's also a speed limiter on there as well. And you get sign recognition. That comes into play in a minute with something else that I'm going to tell you about. So setting the distance control as well on top of the cruise control. So that's the distance between you and the car in front when you're in cruise mode. Again, very easy, a little slider button on the top there. So easy to use, I really like that. Now, the bit I was just talking about with the sign recognition, on the top right hand corner here, you've got what I call a lane keepy button. It's what Skoda call traffic assist. Now, this button is absolutely amazing. It's almost autonomous driving. You can push that button and in the cockpit there, it will come up immediately. Not only does it give you the lane keepy, and a very good lane keepy as well. I can almost, if it was legal, I'd take my hands off and show you. But it also follows the speed limit that you're currently in that particular zone. It's telling me now to keep my hands on the steering wheel. There you go. So it's following the speed limit. At the same time, it's following the road. And at the same time, it's doing the distance control and the cruise control. It's simply fantastic. That's called traffic assist. And I'm sure within the next 2 or 3 years, that will become your autonomous driving button. One thing that this car sadly doesn't come with as standard is the blind spot mirror system. This car has got it, and I love this particular blind spot mirror system because it's on the plastic of the mirror itself. It's not in the mirror like a lot of them are. Two things, the reason that I like that is, one, at night when you've got it in the mirror, sometimes it can become really annoying because it keeps flashing up in your mirror. Whereas on here, you only have it on the inside, so it's not necessarily right in your face in the mirror, especially at night. And another thing is, if you do unfortunately smash that mirror, the cost of having to put in the lane keepy built into it is going to be far greater than just replacing that with a standard mirror. So there you go. A couple of other bits and pieces that you do get as standard on this car. You get sensors, the parking sensors front and rear, which you really do need in this car because it's quite a big car to maneuver. And you get a rear camera as well, so when a parking camera, and it comes up on this lovely big 13-inch screen, you can see everything when you're reversing. You've got the lines, you can guide it back, and I just think coupled that with the sensors, it's a bit of a no-brainer with this car when it comes to parking. Again, round at the back, the Enyaq just doesn't disappoint. I think it's got some really lovely lines. It looks so sporty and quite chunky and low. It's definitely doing it for me. Really love it. A lot of aero going on back here as well, but then that's going to help with the drag coefficient. This is an electric car at the end of the day. It needs as much help conserving that battery as possible. And all this aero all around the side here, across the top here, it's all going to help it do that. Additionally, it will try, we'll try to keep this screen clean by running all the rain and the dirt over the back there. However, if you do need to use it, it does come with a rear wash and wipe. Little DAB radio air up the top there. Again, the LEDs clusters, they go with the car. It's LED fronts, LED rears. Really nice indeed. No fake exhaust. We don't like fake exhaust. You've got your badge over here dictating which model number it is. This is the 80, as I mentioned, so it's got the bigger battery in it. This car doesn't come with an assisted electronic tail lift, and again, there's good reason for that, because that power will be sucking through that battery and we don't need it. A couple of decent gas struts, this lifts up all on its own. Up here, the first thing you're going to notice are two lovely LED courtesy lights. They are beaming down here. At night, this whole area lights up because they are really, really good. Courtesy lights inside there, completely useless. All you're going to see is what's in the boot. If you've got stuff down here, you're trying to sort bits out, these lights are going to light not only inside there, but down there. Before we talk about the boot itself, we've got the inevitable parcel shelf. Well, this one is a parcel blind, as I like to call it. You just clip it back like that and it slides back into itself. It pops back over there. It's very, very easy to get out and to put back in, believe it or not. It's a little clip this side here. You just pop it out there like that. The only problem is, and it's a real shame because this is quite nicely made and it does do a good job, you can't put it anywhere. So if you need to, take it out for any reason, you're putting a pram in there or a bicycle or whatever, you've now got to put this either just sort of like throw it in there like that, which is fine, but it's going to get damaged, or you're going to have to put stuff on top of it, or you're going to have to ask your passengers to put it on their laps, which is, Come on, Skoda, you can do better than that, surely. Under here, basically, are your charging cables. They're just kept inside there. The rest of it is all taken up with battery and, you know, it's very flat and nothing to look at. 585 litres of boot space. Massive. Look at that. It is huge. If that isn't enough, then seriously, you have some issues when you come to loading. Couple of bins, one either side for putting bits and pieces. This one comes with, unfortunately, the inevitable puncture repair kit. Comes with a pump and a bottle of latex, would you believe, which you're supposed to squeeze into the tyre when you have a puncture and then pump it back up with this. Doesn't work. Throw it away, don't even bother. Invest in some run flats, because that's about as best you're going to get with this car. You can't get a spare wheel in here, you can't get a space saver in here. It's going to be run flats. Throw these away, never works. You get some shopping bag holders, one here, there's another one over the back here, and likewise over the other side. Another good thing about this car is you get a 12-volt adapter over there. So if you need to pump, you know, bits and pieces up, inflatables, bike tyres, things like that, you can just plug it in there and it will work straight off the back here. Love bits like that. Now, let's take a look at the seats. They are a 60-40 split. Before I put them down, I'm going to show you a couple of bits and pieces. You can get, for an extra £300, levers put here, one either side, that you can pull and they will release the seats down. Unfortunately, on this car, it hasn't got it. This is the press car. They don't always put everything on it. So you have to reach in here and sort of do it yourself. To be honest, I'd save yourself £300. I wouldn't bother, because the amount of time you're going to be putting these seats down is nothing. It's negligible. In the centre here, you do have, this is the ski hatch. Now, this is where I'm trying to reach it, but I can't reach it from here. I'm going to have to go around and do it from the centre. I just want to show you, because here in the UK, we don't actually call this a ski hatch. We call this the B&Q hatch. So you will see when I pull it down, there you go. Look at that. There, see? Now what you can do, you see, we call it the B&Q hatch for a reason. I'm going to leave it down there. I'm going to come back and talk to you over here. The reason is, this is perfect. We like to go to the DIY store. Our biggest DIY chain is called B&Q. Okay, now in America it's Walmart and whatever. So we go down there on a Saturday. We've got one kid there, wife's happy at home, or whoever, and you've got the kids out, taking them to, you know, fast food chain, wherever you want to go, going to get their burger or their chicken or whatever. You can go and get your wood and you can put it in there, your 2x1, 6 feet long. Yeah, I think you know where I'm going with it. The rest of Europe calls it the ski hatch, and they all go skiing for the weekend, which is perfect because you can put your skis through there. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so let's talk about this 60-40 split. I think you'll get where I was going there. Nice to have though, nice to have a ski hatch. Let's bang that one down there like that. This one over here, I've got to grab it. Again, there's a bit of a push, but eventually, there you go, it goes down. It's great. 1,750 litres of boot space. Massive, huge. Look at the lip though. Again, what a shame. If that had gone flat, it would have been probably next to perfect, this car. But unfortunately, that's what you end up with. So you're going to always struggle with sliding bits and pieces in and out there because that lip there. Another thing is there's another lip here as well, and it's a good, good 6 inches there. And unfortunately, this is all plastic across here. So as you're pulling things out like the pram or the bikes or whatever you've put in there, you're going to scratch all this up. So I think if you're going to invest in one of these cars, perhaps have a look around and see if you can find an accessory that would cover this up and save that from looking like really terrible in a few months' time. But there you go. There you have inside the boot of the Enyaq. When you're driving the Enyaq, you expect a certain amount of media compatibility, and with this car, you will get it. You've got Apple Play, you've got Android mirroring, there's Bluetooth, it comes with a decent DAB radio. So all in all, you're pretty much covered when it comes to tunes. The sound system in this vehicle is very good indeed as well. I think a lot of the actual soundproofing within the car helps to make that sound even better when you're driving along. And it is a very quiet car to drive. At the end of the day, it's an electric car, so there's no engine noise or any, gearbox noises, which is great. Mode-wise, well, there's a mode button here, which I mentioned earlier. If you push the button, you've got 4 different modes. There's Eco, There's normal, there's a sport mode, and there's an individual setup as well that you can set up yourself. Each one has a different screen. It's very easy to use. You just tap on the screen like that. It will change accordingly with a different screen. It's really nice indeed. The modes themselves, well, Eco, obviously it's less on the accelerator. It's trying to conserve as much energy as possible within that battery. Go into normal. Now the car will always be in normal mode unless you say otherwise, so you do need to change it. So even if you drive home in eco mode, when you get out and get back in again, it's going to go into normal mode. It won't stay in the mode you've selected. Sport mode, a little bit faster on the acceleration, and a little bit sportier on the steering, a little bit heavier. You can feel there is a slight difference, but nothing that noticeable. And the individual one, where you can just set it up yourself how you like it, so you can have less on the acceleration, maybe more on the steering wheel, or the other way around, whichever is preferable. The regen on this car is very clever as well. You probably noticed there's some paddles behind the wheel. Now, if you've driven a car with paddles before, it's normally so you can manually change the gears. Well, this car doesn't have gears. It's forward or backwards. It's a battery. That's what it does. So I was wondering what these were for, and then I discovered they're for the regen. Now, the regen basically is when you take your foot off the accelerator and you're coasting like now, the actual battery gets regenerated from the motor by a way, it's called a KERS system, a kinetic energy recovery system. So it takes the energy from the coast that we're currently in, or the braking, like that, you can actually see it come up on the cockpit there, where it recovers that energy, and puts it back in the battery, and helps. You're never going to be in a position where you can totally recharge your battery while you're driving. It's just, you know, the balance, the ratio between the two of you using the accelerator and braking and coasting is far greater than it ever will. One day, hopefully that will be the case, which will be utterly brilliant, because then that means that we won't ever have to charge our cars. Right, before I jump in and check out what it's like for your passengers in the back of the Enyaq, I just want to point out there are 17 add-on packs for this car. Things like family packs, luggage packs, lighting packs, you name it, packs. 17 different ones. Check out with your Skoda salesperson when you go down for your test drive. They'll go all through the whole lot with you and explain each one and how much they cost and things like that. I don't have time to do that. You don't want me to waffle on about that. We're going to crack on and see what the rest of this car's like. Okay, but one of the packs I do know, which I really like, is the family pack. It comes with things like these trays that pull out like that. There's a little catch there. Really nice and neatly done. You also get a blind here, which pops up here. Great in the sun, especially got young ones in the back here. Loads of sun coming through. Daddy, daddy, it's in my eyes. Just pop the blind up there. Really, really nice indeed. Another thing, with all the Enyaqs, the windows come all the way down, right the way down to the bottom. There's a lot of cars currently where they don't even come down to halfway, which is really, really annoying. I hate that. But this particular, you know, the Enyaqs all go to the bottom there. Love it, absolutely love it. Another great thing that your kids or your passengers are going to love, this car comes with its own Wi-Fi hotspot. So if they want to log on to something, and you can set all that up in the front there. We'll talk about the front later on. But it has a Wi-Fi hotspot. Wonderful, wonderful stuff. Great rake on the door here. Means getting in and out of this car very easy, or loading a baby seat into this car even easier. Look at the space to turn and manoeuvre. There are 3 ISOFIX points in this car. There's 1 in the front seat as well as in the 2 in the back here. And your ISOFIX points stay in the car. They're fixed inside. They're on little hinges like that, so you're not going to lose them. I love all these bits and pieces. Recessed seat belts mean you can slide across easily. Let's jump in, see how easy it is to get in and out of the car. First up, look at the space. Look at the headroom. Massive. It's like I'm in a car, like I'm in a 7-seater car. Now, don't forget, Skoda actually produce 3 different types of SUV. So your Kodiaq is the top, that is the 7-seater. This is just the 5-seater. But look at the size, it's just absolutely wonderful. Masses and masses of room. Let's check out what we get for the money in here. Independent rear heating in this car. Love it. Digital as well. You can up it, you can down it. You've got independent heating controls here as well for the flow of the air. You can turn it on, can turn it off, you can turn it whichever way you want. Down the bottom here, 2 USB-Cs for recharging your portable gizmos and bits and pieces. Kids are going to love that. Just plug straight in there. You will need an adapter though, because most of our stuff at the moment isn't USB-C. It will be in the future, but for the time being, you need adapters. No transmission tunnel in the middle here. Makes sliding across so easy. Absolutely, and look again, the headroom, and even sitting in the centre here, it's very, very comfortable. Right, you'll also notice this car has some really nice, well, I'm not keen on the colour, this is brown leather, but it does have some really lovely soft leather in it. There are 5 interior packs as well. Again, speak to your Skoda salesperson, they'll explain each one. They're named after parts of houses like lodge and suite and ecoSuite and lounge and things like that. Ask them about that and they'll explain all that to you. In the centre here, we do get a drop-down shelf there that you can put as an armrest and a double cup holder. Really love that. Pops back in there like that. Really nicely made. It's really good quality. Pops back up out the way. You've got headrests up there. Like I say, you know, and another thing I wanted to mention, not just courtesy lights, these are proper reading lights and they can be turned on and off just by touching them. And they're LEDs and they can go brighter and lower. It's just really nice. The whole car, this whole Enyaq, is really geared up properly for spending plenty of amounts of time within it, out on a drive or wherever you're going. Skoda Enyaqs have the capability of rapid charging at 50 kilowatts. Now that basically means you will get 90 miles of range for around 30 minutes of charging, which is pretty good. However, if you want to do a little bit better than that, you can upgrade to the 100 kilowatt version. That will cost you an extra £440. However, you will get 80%, from 0 to 80% in 38 minutes, which is very, very good indeed. I'll give you a little bit of an idea on consumption here as well. So basically at the moment we are doing just over 2 miles per kilowatt, which equates to around about 66 miles in fuel. Now the reason it does that is 1 kilowatt per mile, 33 miles in fuel. It's just the way they've worked it all out. But it gives you an idea that we're currently doing around about 66 miles to the gallon, which shows you that it's quite an economic car. I've also worked out the average yearly consumption on this car as well, compared to diesel or petrol. So if we took an average year of say 12,000 miles with a consumption of around about 40 miles to the gallon, I think that's fair to say it's pretty average. And petrol prices as they are currently in 2021 here in the UK, you would be spending around £1,750 in petrol or diesel, thereabouts. In this car, you'd be spending £338 a year in electricity bills. I think it's a bit of a no-brainer when it comes to the actual economy. Another way of increasing the range on this car, when you buy an Enyaq, you opt for the heat pump option. Now it is an extra £1,005, but it is really worth it because the heat pump uses the energy from the motor to turn it back into hot air, or it cools in the summer as well. So that takes care of your air conditioning. Because one thing you have to remember when you buy an electric car, as soon as you start using aircon, windscreen wipers, headlights and things like that, they suck the life out of your battery. Before I jump in and show you what it's like for the driver and all the bits and pieces, a lovely little thing which I just spotted here in the door itself is an umbrella, just like the Rolls-Royce. Do you remember? They're in the door panel like that. How neat is that? What lovely thinking. Anyway, fully electronic seats in this as well, and you can adjust them all down here on the side, very easy, and you've got memory seats as well. So if there's more than one of you using this car, you can set your memories, 1 to 3 different memories. They obviously think there's only 3 people in the family that might be using it. Right, I'm going to jump in here now. Another thing, which I really love little bits and pieces, as you know, the parking ticket holder up there. See that? It's right by the windscreen there. When you get a parking ticket, you've got a pay and display man, you've got to stick it up there. You open the door, the wind blows, the parking ticket disappears, and then you get a ticket because you haven't paid and displayed. Whereas this, look, it's just so simple, a little bit of plastic. You just tuck it in there and it can't fly away anywhere. Love it. Massive, massive windshield on this car, windscreen, whatever you want to call it. It's huge and it really makes this car feel like it's much bigger inside than what it really is. But I like that. It's a lot of depth to it as well. Makes everything sort of seem much longer and bigger. And that's what you want to feel when you're driving an SUV. You want to feel big and high. And that's how I've got the seat up here. And you've got plenty of adjustment on this steering wheel. Look at that. You can go all the way in and out and down and up loads of adjustment. On the right hand side here, you've got your lighting control panel. You just set it to auto and let it do its thing. That's the only way. You've got LED running lights at the front, they're on all the time. Then to the left of that, you've got the front fog light, and then to the left of that, you've got the rear fog lights. You have to put those on manually, obviously, because it doesn't know whether it's foggy or not. Okay, 13-inch touchscreen, absolutely huge. Look at the size of that, amazing. You've got the home button there, you can control everything, it's TFT, you can slide through the screens. It's just a lovely piece of kit and very easy to use, and loads of ways of finding out how much charge you're using, how much you're going through, and all bits like that. You just go into your home menu and then go into here, and you can choose everything. Look at all the widgets on here as well. Works really, really nicely. I love it. Vehicle, there we go, and then the little animations that come in. Super stuff. Very, very small cluster here. But why do you don't need anything else? It's, you know, that's just all it needs. Just tells you how much battery, shows you the bits and pieces that are essential. Your range, for example, that comes up in there. On the steering wheel itself, well, on the right hand side here, again, very simple operations. You can just maneuver about between that screen, bits and pieces on there. You've got a nice big knurly scroll bar there. On the left-hand side here, you've got your Ask Skoda button, or Ask Laura, as they call it. Skoda call it Laura. So you go, hi Laura, and then she'll pop up and she'll talk to you. You get a heated steering wheel in this car. That's the only thing. I mean, it's nice to have a heated steering wheel, but it's going to draw a little bit of battery. Down the bottom here is your media left and right, and then you've got your volume up and down, which is on that Nell button there. All in all, though, I do love this steering wheel. It's really nice. It's a leather steering wheel. It's really well put together. Okay, let's move along and have a look a little bit in the middle here. This, as you can probably see, and here is a very, very large cubby. And I like this, that you can put all your loose change in here and bits and pieces. And when you need to sort it out, you can just tip it in your hand like that and then put it back in there like that. I like things like that. Again, it's a bit like that parking ticket holder. There's a little LED light in there as well, so you can see any of the bits that you've popped in there. I'll put that back down there. It also acts at a very nice, you recognise that? Thought you might do. There's quite a bit of VW influence in here, but who cares? We like a bit of VW influence for the same price as a Skoda. Of course we do. Down here in the centre, well, more spaces to put bits and pieces. You get a double cup holder here, but the one thing I love about these cup holders, first of all, you can pop that in and out, because when it comes to cleaning these things, you need to get these bits and pieces out. This one comes with a little rubber mat in it, and it's got knobbly bits on it. I'm going to put that back in there. When you put your water bottle in there, you know when you're driving along sometimes, you want to take a drop of water, but you can't undo the bottle because it's you know, it keeps turning. So you have to take it out, put it between your legs, and then you're trying to do that while you're driving. It's just really not good and not safe. So Skoda have come up with these knobbly bits in there, and that means you can actually turn the top of the lid without the bottle turning as well. I just can't fault it. Double iPhone holder. Double, 1, 2, one each side there. You can have this as charging as well if you want. This particular car hasn't got it. It has got USBs in there, and there is a USB adapter there as well. Along here, well, simple bits and pieces. You've got your rear heating, you've got your climate control, you've got your mode here as well. So if you put your mode button, you push that when you're driving along, it will come up with your different modes. We do that when we're driving the car itself because it displays a lot better. Unlock button in the middle, and pretty much everything is basically there for you. It's so easy, you know. Don't need to there's your cruise control in the back there, just drops underneath there. Again, dead simple to use. Top right there, indicator and high and low beam, very easy. Wipers, again, all auto. That's the way this car works. Pretty much everything works autonomously. Okay, let's have a look in here. Not the biggest of glove boxes, I'm afraid. It's reasonable size. Look, we don't need this, do we? Skoda, come on. I mean, it's all on here, and this car also comes with an app that you can have on your phone, and the app has the user manual as well. So why do we need another user manual? This costs money. We could save that, and that would pay for this beautiful panoramic sunroof. If you probably knocked off 150 for that, it makes that more accessible. So it also takes up a lot of room in the glove box. The finish on this car is excellent. Got really nice leather all the way around here. Got piano black all the way around. It's just a superb, it just feels total luxury to me. And I'm really impressed with the Skoda Enyaq. So with the Skoda Enyaq, you get a 3-year or 60,000 mile warranty, which is okay. I mean, it's not as good as some of the other manufacturers are currently offering. I'd like to see Skoda up that to 5 years or maybe even 7 years unlimited. That would be a real big selling point in my opinion. But there you have it, 3 years or 60,000 miles. One good thing, you do get a 12-year anti-corrosion warranty, which I think just proves that, you know, or just shows VW and Skoda's commitment to the build quality and the materials that they're currently using. 12 years is very good indeed. You get an 8-year or 100,000 mile battery warranty. That is essential because driving a battery powered vehicle, you're depending totally on that power unit, and it needs to be tip top on all occasions. If anything goes wrong with that, you need to be covered. And I think 8 years or 100,000 miles, it's even got it on its resale value there, because when you come to sell it after 3 or possibly 5 years, you can still have a number of years left on that warranty. Servicing on this car is every 2 years or 18,750 miles. And the reason the service intervals are so far apart is because there are obviously a lot less moving parts on an electrical powered vehicle than they are on a petrol or diesel powered vehicle. So there you have it, guys. That was the Skoda Enyaq. And what a car it was, or is. I mean, it's completely changed my whole thinking about electric cars, because up until now I had all the usual sort of, you know, the range anxiety issues, where do I charge it? And this car has completely, just totally changed the ball game. It's value for money, it's comfortable, but above all, it does what it says on the tin. If it says 210 miles, it does 210 miles on a charge, and you can rely on that. And that's what I love about it. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'm AJ from The Player, as you probably already know. Don't forget, like, subscribe and comment. If you want to leave a comment in the box down below there, please do so. One of us will get back to you in due course. If you wouldn't mind giving us a thumbs up, that would be really helpful, because don't get any bonuses, I don't get paid any extra, but we do get the old pat on the back from the boss to say, job well done, and that means they know you're liking what we are doing. So really appreciate that. Subscribe if you would like to, always appreciate that, and leave the bell sign unchecked because you'll get regular updates. We are producing at least 1 video a week, if not 2 these days. And they're not just cars, they're all sorts of bits and pieces, because we are part of a much bigger organisation. We're part of The Player. Now, The Player is a men's bookazine. Yes, a bookazine, not a magazine. It's a magazine because it comes out every 3 months, but it's got a hardback cover, so it's called a bookazine. That's the way it works. You can have the online version of this for absolutely free, no charge whatsoever. To buy the actual hardback book is £100 a copy. So you don't want to do that. Well, if you do, thank you very much. I'm sure the boss will be very, very appreciative of that. However, if you want the online one for completely nothing, gratis, as they say, just go to www.theplayer.co.uk. Hang on a minute. It's coming in here now. There you go. I'll leave it there for a few seconds so you can memorise it. All you've got to do is go to the subscribe tab, hit that, put your name in and your email. Simple as. No data capture. That's all it needs, because then you can download it or you can view it online. And it's really nicely set up. There's 228 pages of everything us guys absolutely love. There's boats, there's motorcycles, there's cars, there's jet skis, there's helicopters, private jets, holidays, you name it. I could go on and on and on about it. But it's all in there and it's all free to you online. So go and fill your boots, as they say. Thanks for watching. I will catch you next week with another car. Could be an interview, could be a boat, who knows? But either way, take care and I'll see you soon.